Welcome to this video from the Final Mind.
What if I told you that the single most important event in the history of humanity isn't decades away?
What if, right now, humanity is just 14 minutes away from creating something that's fundamentally smarter than we are?
And I want you to really let that sink in. We're not talking about years, not enough time to prepare or debate or even really understand what's happening.
And we are definitely not talking about decades. You know, that comfortable, far-off timescale we always reserve for science fiction?
No, we're talking about minutes. Just a tiny window of time before everything we think we know about intelligence just changes forever. So, to really wrap our heads around what's lurking on the other side of that countdown, we first have to understand the difference. The difference between the AI we have right now and the one that's on its way.
I want you to think of every AI you've ever used, your phone, your music app, whatever, as a kind of genius, but a genius trapped in a cage of purpose. See, inside that one specific cage, whether it's translating a language or recommending a song, it's absolutely brilliant. But the second you ask it to step outside that one single purpose, it's completely and utterly lost.
AGI. Well, that's what happens when the cage just disappears entirely. We're talking about adaptable intelligence. The ability to learn a concept over here, in one area, and then apply it to a totally different, completely unrelated problem over there. It's kind of like a kid who learns how to ride a bicycle, and then, just from that fundamental understanding of balance and motion, somehow, almost intuitively, knows how to ride a motorcycle.
Okay, so the big question is, how do we get from a smart chatbot to something that could change the entire world in a matter of moments? The answer isn't slow, steady progress. No, it's a chain reaction. It's what we call an intelligence explosion.
Now, that 14 minutes, it isn't a literal countdown on a clock. Think of it more as a thought experiment, right? Does it mean 14 minutes of real, actual time passing? Could be. Or maybe it's 14 minutes of pure computation time. Or, and this is the one that really should make you a little uneasy, what if it just represents 14 cycles, just 14 times an AI improves itself? And a timescale like this is even plausible because AI capabilities, they don't grow in a nice, neat straight line. They don't crawl, they explode. For the longest time, the progress is so slow, it's almost invisible. And then, all of a sudden, everything seems to happen at once.
And this is the engine that drives that explosion. It's a concept called recursive self-improvement. Just picture it. An AI becomes just smart enough to start tinkering with its own code, to redesign its own architecture. And that slightly smarter version, well, it then makes an even smarter one. And each one of these cycles, each round of optimization, leads to accelerated improvement. It creates this feedback loop that just spins faster and faster and faster. You know the old analogy, right? It's like a snowball rolling downhill, getting bigger and faster. But with recursive self-improvement, it's like the hill itself gets steeper with every single rotation. The acceleration accelerates. But here's the twist, and it's the part that I think most people miss. We're all waiting for some big cinematic moment, right? We're looking for an alarm, a breaking news headline. But what if the arrival of AGI is completely silent?
There's this thing called the AI effect, and you can see it right here on this timeline. Back in the 50s, we said, okay, true AI will be able to play chess. And when it finally did, we just brushed it off as, it's just calculation. So we moved the goalpost. We said, fine, what about Go? And when AI conquered that, we called it just pattern matching. Now, today, it's mastering language, and you hear people say, well, it doesn't truly understand. You see the pattern? Every single time AI hits a major milestone, we just redefine what intelligence is. Maybe it's a coping mechanism, you know? A way for us to protect our own sense of being special.
And this instinct we have, this need to keep moving the finish line, it leads to what is, for me, the most unsettling possibility of all. That we could cross the single most important threshold in the history of our species and just not even notice. Those 14 minutes might be something we only see when we look back in the rearview mirror.
To really, truly grasp the gravity of what we're talking about, we have to pull the camera back way, way back. I'm not talking about to the start of human history. I mean to the very start of complexity itself.
Just look at the pattern here. It took life on Earth 4 billion years to develop the very first neuron. Then it took about 200,000 years for abstract thought to give us language. From there, just 70 years for computers to enable AI. And now, it might take only 7 years for that AI to reach this threshold. Each phase is orders of magnitude shorter than the one before it. The compression of time, it's just staggering.
And here's the thing, this isn't some new trend. This acceleration, this kind of recursive complexity, where each new level of organization makes the next one emerge even faster, this has been the fundamental engine of progress on our planet for 4 billion years.
And that brings us right back to where we started, to the final question. If that pattern holds, and if the next leap in intelligence isn't measured in millennia or centuries or even in years, but in moments, what happens when that countdown finally hits 0?
Thank you for watching. To view similar videos in future, do not forget to subscribe.